Hello and very warm welcome everyone. It's Marta. Welcome back in the part 2. I am just briefly sharing with you all 4 designs, the background paper which we created thanks to this fabulous iron technique, and dependingly on the way you blow your hot air from your heat gun tool, you can achieve different results. So here are the papers, and of course I'm gonna start from the one which I was mentioning at the previous video. This is not my favorite. I'm actually not too much fond of this paper, how it's turned out, because I think I've made the mistake in the way I was adding my embossing powders. I add a colorful composition there with various powders, and then I put a larger amount of the white one on the top. So that way, once I iron it, it actually came out as this white blob in the center of this card. So I'm gonna fix it by adding a little bit more color to it, and then I'm just gonna very gently and quickly iron over it. I'm not pressing too firmly because I don't want to lose the design of the embossing folder. So here I am just melting the powder and having a little bit extra powders. It gives a little bit more color to it. However, this paper has been torn. It was torn the second I was taking it out from the embossing folder, so nothing I can do with it. I'm not giving up on this yet. This design is actually quite forgiving because you have this large kind of like mosaic effect here, like little tiles, and it actually tear along the line. So what I did, I grabbed my pencil, I briefly marked myself on the back side which pieces I need to cut off so I could have this nice equal design, and within a minute I've managed to split this pieces into 2 separate ones. So here I'm just making sure I have a clean cut. I am just, helping myself with the scissors and just gently make sure I have it nice. Now, because it's too much white, even though adding that extra little bit of the powder is still melt into this big white blob. So I've decided to add a couple of the sprinkle of the gold, and I must to tell you, my friends, that this make the whole piece up to a next level, because we've got this very rich thick layer of the embossing, and once you slightly heat it up and then you sprinkle like you would add some salt or some spices, this gold is actually beautifully flowing on this embossing powders, so it's really add this nice and shine. So once I finish, I am just gently putting the rest of the gold embossing powder back to the container, and I can move on to make a card. So this time I'm gonna be making a DL size card. I've decided that once I have separated these pieces, I'm just gonna kind of spread them a little bit further, so that way I will have enough material to cover up DL size card. And all I have to do is just to gently trim the edges so I could have the preferred length and width of these pieces, so they could fit the 4-inch size card, like 4 by 8.25, because that's the DL size card I'm just gonna be making. Now I'm placing the piece of the cardstock, this is A4 size card, on my scoring board. I'm just folding it and scoring it and then folding it at 4 inches, and then I'm gonna chop the rest off from this card, and this is gonna be my backing piece for these 2 pieces. So it's slightly smaller than 4 inches, so I'm only trimming it on one side so I have this nice equal border all around, and then I'm gonna adhere my pieces on top of it. I'm gonna use the liquid adhesive, and once I'm gonna be adding my adhesive, I am making sure I will add it a generous layer, not too much, but making sure I've got each corner of those spiky pieces cover up in the glue, so they're not gonna be hatching. I just don't want them to bend out, because I'm kind of maybe not afraid, but I don't want the embossing pieces to snap and just come off, so it's better to adhere every single bit, make sure it's nice and steady. Now I do have this Merry Christmas sentiment, and this is the one which I was using not in the last video but video before. I was planning to use it, and then I've changed my mind. I wanted to use it on a large card, and now I'm changing mind again. But this is, you know, creative process. We just jump from one idea to another, and sometimes if I'll keep those like unfinished bits on my desk, I'm more likely tend to use them. So I always have a couple of the leaves or sentiment or something lying right beside me, so they're ready when I need something. I can just, you know, start from the things which I've already cut and prepare and haven't done, and use it on previous cards. So here back again on the bottom part, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm making sure that all these pieces are covered with the glue, and then I'm just gently you know, pressing down to the card and just making sure the glue will catch. So here I've decided to add a couple of the snowflakes just to enhance the design. Since I'm gonna be putting this Merry Christmas sentiment, I just wanted to add something to be more Christmassy. So I've decided to cut a couple of more snowflakes. And I know that this color combination, maybe it's not super Christmassy colors, but thanks to you know, lots of shininess, lots of the you know, gold powder sparkling, and then we've got this nice sentiment. I think it's looking really nice. So let me know what you think. Would you rather recreate the card in more Christmassy colors, or you also like to experiment and, you know, use different type of non-Christmassy color combinations as well? I am kind of a divide, because I like traditional Christmas color, but I also like to experiment, and from time to time I'm just switching up the game and, you know, just trying to play with different colors, different things, like, you know, create the pinkish or blue or any other, like, you know, pale color, pastel color tones. I think they are looking really nice for any occasion, and you could change them into Christmas card or any other card, dependingly what embellishment you're gonna add to your card. So here I grab additional piece of the scrap paper that was in my scrap drawer with the gold pieces. It's a little bit crinkle on one side. You can see here the paper got squished, but it doesn't matter. I just need a thin layer of the gold sticking out from the outer edge to give me this lovely little frame. It's hardly visible here, but once I set it on the white card, like back on the card base, you can see this teeny tiny frame all around, and I think it's just adding additional elegance. It's something you can skip, or if you don't want to waste the piece of the paper, like a gold cardstock or something, you can gently rub the embossing ink right along the edges of your focal point, like this front layer, and then just sprinkle it with the embossing powder and create a teeny tiny layer as well. I just wanted to have nice and clean edge, so that's why I've decided to use it up. Plus, as I've mentioned, this paper has been you know, squished before, so it's gonna be a perfect to use it up just like that. Now, because this element, it's kind of a warp up, this piece of the paper was warped up once I've run it through the embossing folder together with the embossing powder layer on it. I've decided to straighten it up with the help of the cardboard. Whenever I need the card to be nice and sturdy and I want to prevent it from bending, I add a layer of the cardboard instead of a double-sided foam tape. It will give you the same dimension, but the card is becoming a way more sturdier. So even though later on, once you put the card, I don't know if you ever kept the card, you know, like standing upright on the display for a longer time, especially the longer card, like the L size card, they tend to kind of bend in the middle, so having that layer of the cardboard is just preventing that perfectly, and it will make that way you make sure that your card, whoever will receive it and they will put it on a display, it will be just holding nicely all the time, and the card, it's not gonna be bending in any direction. So here I'm adding a couple of the snowflakes, and this is a very interesting design. I'm super happy with how it's turned out. It's a very unusual look, and I love all the shininess of the embossing powder. Now, I think this is, I don't know, I'm just saying like this is my favorite and that is my favorite, but they all kind of be, you know, so unique that I'm super happy how all of those cards looks like. I really like this combination of the green color design paper, which I've made with the help of the ink, and then we have this like kind of like a white, gray, a little bit black and gold color combination up front. It looks like this kind of like a paint or something. Like have you ever watched the videos with the paint pouring technique where this thick paint is just going over the canvas and it's creating this kind of like a marbly effect? This is what this card, at least for me, when I look on it, it's resembling. Like this is a very thick paint kind of a marbling on top of this green color background paper. So for that card, I've decided to go with the darker card base. I grab a piece of the grayish color card, which I've turned into the card base. It's kind of like A6 size, and then for the green color piece, I'm actually creating the additional layer of the black matte, just so I could have this very thin layer of the black color all over the edges. And again, I'm making sure I have enough glue, especially cover up all the little corners and everything, so it will stay flat on the mat. And then unfortunately I rip up a little piece of the corner, but it's very forgiving thanks to the fact I have this very nice rich texture, and the piece has been kind of once you run it through the embossing folder, you've got those line, and it actually ripped on the line. So once I put it back here, you can see I'm just trying to, you know, stitch back this little corner. It's absolutely no visible that the paper was damaged there. So if it would happen on a plain color card and you would rip off the edge, you would probably see the line, but thanks to the texture of the embossing folder, I was managed to, you know, hide it. So here I am just again measuring a piece of the cardboard, and I am sticking it behind it because I want to make sure that all of these cards, they're just gonna be very nice and straight, like presenting themselves. Especially with that technique, the paper can be a little bit warped up, so you just want to make sure you protect it proper way. And for me, having a little bit of the cardboard is just, you know, game changer. I've noticed that the card, even after the posting, they are staying really flat. There's no carving in them, and I just like to do them that way. Now I'm gonna add the sentiment which says make dreams come true, because it's gonna be a kind of like a birthday card. You can actually use the card for any occasion, and dependingly of the you know sentiment you're gonna put, you can dress it up for so many different things. Or you can even like go further, like maybe punch a couple of the red hearts and create it like a anniversary card or something else. That will be interesting too. Now for the card number 3, I have this beautiful design with the text embossed background, and then we create this kind of like a splotchy, splattery look with the embossing. And I've decided to set it on the top of the design paper, just so I could share with you different idea that you're not always necessarily need to work whenever you have the handmade background. You just have to put it on a plain cardstock. You can also use the design paper and mix and match in between the different texture and color tones, and at the first look it's not matching. Like we've got this bluish color design paper with this like a watering can with the flowers, and then I have this random mixed media piece of the paper, embossed paper with the embossing powder, you know, layer on top of it. It's not matching, but we're gonna make it matching. So I think this is the thing which I'm kind of forgetting. Usually when I stamp or create my own design, like background, like colorful paper pieces, then I usually stick them on a plain color cardstock. And here this is a perfect example that these two, like design paper and handmade paper, they can go along really perfectly. For my card base, I am again reaching for A4 size card, which I score in half as A5, but I trim it around 1 centimeter or maybe like half an inch from one side, just so I could have more interesting look. Sometimes switching up the size a little bit is just creating the card look more special, which means that if you traditionally have like A5 size card or 5x7, try to trim it a little bit one way or another, and you will see instantly that the card will appear way more special because it's kind of an unusual size. So thanks to that technique, you can also make sure that your card getting more uniqueness, I would say. So try and play with the sizes, and I guarantee it to you that you'll be surprised that a teeny tiny change of the size of the card base, that could also impact the general view of the card, like appearing more unique. And again, for this background, because it has been a little bit warped up, I am adding the layer of the cardboard underneath, and that way I'm getting additional dimension, but all this piece is staying beautifully flat. Now, by the way, I haven't said that, and maybe there'll be like a couple new friends who will be watching this video. This design paper, along with the ephemera element I am cutting just now, or these sentiments, everything is coming from the free printable designs which I have for you on my Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you are interested to get those paper, there will be link down below, either on the comment, I usually leave it on the comment, or on the description for my Buy Me a Coffee page. So I encourage you to visit the page and have a look. I've got lots of different designs there which are free, or if you decide, you can pay a little coffee price for it, so that will be support for my channel. And if anyone will decide to do so, thank you so very much for your support. And of course, I'm super grateful, because that will help me to come up with more videos with more free content as well. So thank you for supporting. And of course, I forgot to say that at the beginning, but if you enjoy my video, please make sure you say hi in the comment or click the like button. That is also a huge support for my channel. Now, I've decided to switch the sentiment here because I wanted to have something smaller. I really like this design so much that I didn't want to cover it up with this happy birthday sentiment I have. So I switched it for the sticker sentiment. I think that was the freebie from one of the magazine. It was either like a specialty kit from Indigo Blue. I think that was Indigo Blue in one of those specialty magazine kits. So I choose the sticker which says birthday wishes, and then I just put it on a piece of the card, additional paper, just to strengthen it up. And I also like this look when I have this teeny tiny border around my sentiment. All of the cards, actually, I'm just gonna, maybe today, I'll try to do it today or tomorrow morning. I will make sure I'll give them like a proper photo shoot, and then I will maybe post them on my Instagram account. So whoever would like to see more close-up look of the card, you can also visit me on my Instagram account and then have a view on the photos. So here I am adding this little white string. I've decided to turn it into a bow. Initially I had this like a circle little wreath because that was my idea at first place, but then I've just changed it into the bow, stuck it, and then I am placing the sentiment on top of it. And both the sentiment and this little watering can I supported also with the pieces of the cardboard, just to give them a little bit more dimension. I usually use the double-sided foam tape, but since I already have a couple of the cutout pieces of the cardboard, why not use up them. Now, last card, and this one I was at the minute for the first few minutes, I was like, what am I gonna do with it? I've already, made 3 different sizes, so I've decided to again switch up the size, and I reached for the square card. And this time I actually had on hand this craft color cardstock, so I've decided to finish it with the craft color paper. So to make it better fit, what I did, I actually ripped off both of the edges, so that will give me this handmade like tear edge, additional feature to this piece. And then because the whole like 6x6 card was actually quite dark, I didn't want to have as much craft color paper showing. I've decided to cut additional piece of the same, this is the same like coated paper, which I've used to create the background. And then I went back and reach for the same color inks, which was this time I remember it was Victorian velvet, and oh my gosh, the green was Pillet Paint, I believe. Yes, I'm looking back on my shelf. I need to start making a notes what I'm using, because many occasions I'm using the inks, I'll put them back on the shelf, and then I'm recording the voiceover later on, and I was like, oh, which one ink I've used up. But anyway, I did a little bit coloring with my sponges, just to add the same kind of a color combination, but I went a little bit heavier, not too heavy, but a little bit more stronger color, so I will have differentiation in between the 2 pieces, so the top one will be lighter. And to add even more interesting texture and feature to this card, I used the text stamp and just stamp it with the same green color ink, just randomly here and there, just so we could have some additional texture to it. So I am trimming this square, making sure it's fitting my card nicely. And here is the front piece on top of it, and because it's a lighter weight, it's just standing up even better. And I'm just marking a little trim with the pencil where to cut, so they're both nice and even. And what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna glue them together. And then I've decided to add even more texture and interest to this piece. So what I'm gonna be doing, I will take my piercing tool, and this is like a leather piercing roller, and I will add stitching, like the 4 stitching line all around the 4 sides. However, before, I'm just taking the scissors and I will distress the edges a little bit. I think this is very fun technique to finish your paper, and anytime you're actually gonna be creating this distressed edges, your paper will appear to look like more thicker. So if you're working on a thin paper, this is also a good tip to have, that if you want your papers to look a little bit thicker, just distress slightly edges. And here you could see I went with this little piercing tool all 4 sides, and that'll give me this like sewing stitches, little dots. So that's very interesting look. And thanks to that, I know that there's some dies which you can have like a squares, rectangles, and they also have this piercing all around. However, they are only specific sizes, but having this little inexpensive tool, your possibilities are endless, because you can create the stitching line on any size, or you can even go round or like an oval shape as well, and that will be, you know, so much different extra possibilities to add to your card, rather than having the specialty dies for each single shape of you know, you want to use the little dotted stitch line. Here I have this like a piece of the greenery, which I thought I'm gonna use at first, but I didn't really like it. I don't know, for some reason I've decided that I just wanted to have something else. So I grabbed this very old punch. I think it's a Marta Stewart butterfly punch, but I don't remember the name. It's probably retired by now because I have it for so many years. I don't even remember when did I bought it, but it has this beautiful different size butterflies. So I've decided that I'm just gonna punch them from the same craft color paper, and I will do like a little scattering you know, fly of these butterflies. They just go down from the bottom, and then they spread out towards the top. So that was my card number 4. In a second, I will show you up all 4 of them close up look back again. Let me know in the comment which one of them you like the most, and did you enjoy the technique? Let me know as well, did you watch the part 1 video? If not, this embossing ironing technique is presented on my previous video for those of you who haven't seen it, so you can go back to my channel and rewatch it if you'd like to find out how did I create them. And I just wanted to show you what you can do with the background, because sometimes, many occasions, I found it myself that I create that beautiful background, and then I was like, okay, and now what to do with them? So that's why I'm coming over with the part number 2 and share with you how to create, how to turn this beautiful kind of like a mixed media effect background, and how you can turn them into some cards. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not going to be posting anything tomorrow, but I am coming back with the live classes on Sunday. And I know I'm repeating it a little bit, but it's been a while since I haven't been having classes, so I'm super excited about them. I can't wait to see everyone and have a little chit chat. So I hope you'll join me, and if not, if you cannot join, then I will save up the class so you can watch it. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you shortly. Stay blessed, and bye bye.